Hopefully you'll join me next time. So until then, I'll say goodbye for now. So, as one video finishes, a new one begins. Right now, it's time for some League One football, about 12 miles up the road. Well, I don't think it is quite 12 miles from Airdrie to Broadwood Stadium here in Cumbernauld. It's probably nearer 7 or 8. But anyway, I'm here for my second game of the day. And I'm here for a match between Hamilton Academicals and Inverness Caledonian Thistle. And yes, you heard me right, Hamilton Academicals do play in Cumbernauld. They do this season. There's a long story which I'll try and explain throughout this video about just what a difficult situation Hamilton Accies find themselves in these days. But also we'll get some coverage of the match tonight. It should be a good one. Hamilton Accies versus Inverness Caledonian Thistle. So Hamilton Accies play here because they moved out of New Douglas Park, the stadium in Hamilton, at the end of last season. Now, financial problems beset the Accies last season. They had points deductions for non-payment of players, and also because they didn't meet the deadline of declaring which stadium they would be playing in this season. Deadline, I think, was the end of March, and because they were in dispute with the stadium owners, they couldn't give the SPFL an indication of where they would play. So the Accies had another points deduction. I think last season they ended up with 15 points deducted, which meant it was almost inevitable that they were going to be relegated to Scotland's League One. So the solution, or a solution, to Hamilton being homeless was to move here. This stadium is about 10 miles away, I think, from Hamilton, and certainly the Accies supporters made their feelings known. They were not happy about having to come here when they have a perfectly good stadium in the town. So what the Accies supporters did at the start of the season, they boycotted matches. So already in a financial difficult position, already without access to the home ground in their hometown, there was a bit of a rebellion on behalf of their supporters. So it's just made life really difficult for the Hamilton Academicals club. On the field, they've been doing pretty well this season. If they hadn't have had points deductions again this season, I think they'd be third in the table. But as it is, they're just hovering above relegation, and the points deductions this season are again for non-payment of players. So I think the financial problems of Hamilton Academicals Football Club are really coming back to haunt them. Hopefully, common sense will prevail, and at some point in the future, Hamilton Accies can return to the town of Hamilton, and the football club will be in the news for what they do on the pitch rather than all the shenanigans off the field. As well as Hamilton, this is the home ground of the Cumbernauld Colts, who play in the Lowland League. So inside the stadium, and it's a very nice looking ground. Broadwood on the inside, it looks in very good shape, and the synthetic 3G pitch is looking good, as you would expect. It's a consistent looking pitch, and yeah, this is a nice stage for League One football. So inside the concourse, I've checked out the refreshments kiosk because I am the vegan GroundHopper, and I do like to check out what's suitable for vegans. And tonight, on this bitterly cold night in Cumbernauld, I've got some salt and vinegar crisps, and I've got some hot black coffee, and that is just what the doctor ordered. So Hamilton Accies playing here is just half of the story, because this stadium used to be the home ground of Clyde FC. And when the council did not renew the tenancy for Clyde, they were without a home. And just for the record, I think the council were perfectly justified in not renewing their lease. If you want to know more about that, I'd suggest you Google it. But what happened was, Clyde were looking for a ground. So they moved down to New Douglas Park and ground shared with Hamilton Academicals. But of course now Hamilton Accies have moved and play here. So we've got a bizarre situation where Hamilton are playing at Clyde and Clyde are playing at Hamilton. So the teams of Hamilton Academicals and Inverness Caledonian Thistle come to the field for tonight's match. Scottish League One action from Broadwood Stadium. And this is going to be a good one. Hamilton have in goal Josh Lane. And Josh was on loan at Stranraer for the first half of the season. And I saw Stranraer a couple of times in the flesh. And a lot of Stranraer on their Stranraer Live channel. And Josh was in exceptional form for the Blues in the first half of the season. So I'll be interested to see how he does tonight in the division above. So, good half. Inverness lead by a goal to nil, probably on the balance of play. That's fair. Last season, I saw both of these two teams play home games on consecutive days. Last season, I saw Hamilton when they were playing at New Douglas Park. They played Falkirk, and Falkirk were on that charge to the title. Terrible, wet, windswept night, but still enjoyable experience. Next day, I went up to the Highlands and I saw Inverness beat Annan Athletic by a goal to nil in what was Duncan Ferguson's last game as manager. So it's quite interesting that this season I'm seeing them both on the same night. So there we go. Inverness, the top of the league table, and whether they win, lose, or draw tonight, they still will remain top. At the moment, they're 3 points clear of Stenhousemuir, who drew today at home to Montrose. So Cally Thistle in the driving seat as far as the League One title goes. Right, it's half time, and that means it's time for my sweet treat. So this evening, I've gone for this Nomo. It's like an Easter bunny, which seems a bit weird because we're in February, but it's a Nomo salted caramel Easter bunny. And when I think it's only a couple of weeks ago since I had my last mince pie. So Christmas and Easter just seem to blend into one these days, don't they? But there you go. That's what I'm going to be enjoying at half time. And then we'll get on with the second half of the match. Wasn't for the want of trying for Accies, really banging on the door as the match went on, but they couldn't. Well, they couldn't eke out a proper chance, and the league leaders go from strength to strength. Good applause from the home support. They could really appreciate the effort the boys put in, particularly in that second half. So I'm reflecting on my visit to Broadwood. It's been a very enjoyable experience. The welcome here from the people of Hamilton Academicals has been very warm, and it's been a very enjoyable time here. I think watching the game tonight, a very competitive team. Inverness, probably unbalanced, just about shaded it, but the second half it was an even contest. Overall, I've been very much impressed by the friendliness and the welcome here. And I feel for the club and the officials and the supporters and the players. Any team that's in exile from their spiritual home, it feels almost wrong. And for Hamilton not to be playing football in Hamilton, it just seems crazy. Hopefully, they can draw inspiration from Inverness, because it's only last season that they had a 15-point deduction. They stayed up, and now they're kicking on for promotion this season. They've gone 6 points clear at the top of the table tonight. So all being well, maybe that will be Hamilton next season. And hopefully the new season will bring a return of Hamilton Academicals to Hamilton itself. We'll see. Anyway, that's pretty much all for this video. All that remains for me to say is thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you'll join me next time. So from Cumbernauld, I'll say goodbye for now.